Everything begins with a scientific breakthrough that stops aging at 25. In this world, everyone looks young, even if they are over 100 years old. The story centers around a 28-year-old man named Will Salas. He lives with his mother, who looks the same age as him. They share a small rented place and live from hour to hour, working constantly just to survive another day. In this strange society, money no longer exists. Time is the currency, stored and displayed on the left arm. It can be earned, spent, or transferred. And when that timer reaches zero, life ends instantly. Imagine living every day staring at your time, terrified it may run out in minutes. When Will arrives at work, we see two men gambling with time, pressing their right hands against each other. In this world, taking time from someone is as easy as placing your hand beneath theirs. Giving time works the same way, just reversed. The harsh truth is that no matter how healthy someone is, how well they eat, or how disciplined they are, none of it matters. If the time runs out, they die. In this world, no one escapes the clock. This is in time. After work, Will heads to a bar to meet his best friend, Burrell. Inside, a wealthy man sits surrounded by women, casually enjoying his evening. On his arm is an incredible amount of time, around one entire century. Not long after, a gang led by a man named Fortis arrives. They hunt people for time and plan to take the rich man's life supply. Before things escalate, Will intervenes and helps the man escape.
Ready to go. Get him!
Thanks to Will, they manage to hide from Fortis and his gang. Once they are safe, the wealthy stranger asks why Will helped him. Will explains that he simply could not stand the cruelty he saw. Fortis and his men terrorize people, and Will just happened to be there when it was happening again. The truth is, the rich man has lived more than a century and is completely tired of existing. Whether someone steals his time or not no longer matters to him. Seeing Will's sincerity, he secretly transfers 100 years of time to Will, leaving only 5 minutes for himself. With that final moment, he chooses to walk away from his endless and empty life. Before going home, Will stops to see Burrell and shares 10 years with him as a thank you for their long friendship. But while Will enjoys this new fortune, he has no idea that his mother has less than 2 hours of time left. The bus fare alone costs 2 hours and no one is willing to help her, so she begins running home with what little time she has left. Will senses something is wrong and sprints through the streets hoping to reach her, but he is seconds too late. His mother dies in his arms before he can share his time. Meanwhile, a well-known former mobster named Raymond has become a law enforcer. His job is not to protect people, but to maintain the balance of time and prevent disruption in the system. The wealthy man's death appears suspicious, so Raymond begins an investigation. And soon, Will becomes the prime suspect. Back to Will, who is now driven by anger and a need for justice. His target is the wealthy elite who control endless time. Their world is New Greenwich, a luxurious city reserved only for people who can afford immortality. Will passes through several checkpoints and even pays an entire year just to enter. When he finally steps inside New Greenwich, his instincts kick in and he moves quickly, like someone used to rationing every second. But here, people walk slowly, calm and unbothered, because time is something they will never lose. Will forces himself to slow down, trying to blend in so no one notices he does not belong. Meanwhile, Raymond reviews security footage from before the wealthy man died, and it does not take long before Will becomes the prime suspect. Still focused on revenge, Will heads to a high-stakes poker table. He plays boldly and wins a massive amount of time.
Bet you 50 years. $13 figures. Well played.
His performance catches the attention of a powerful man named Philippe. But something else also catches Will's eye. Felipe's daughter, Sylvia. Will is invited to a lavish party at their mansion. With 199 years now on his arm, he buys a sleek sports car and heads over. At the party, he meets Sylvia again. There is chemistry between them, and when Will invites her for a dance, she accepts. One thing leads to another, and the two end up outside together. In the water, away from the crowd, their connection grows stronger. When they return to the party, trouble arrives. Raymond and his team storm the event and immediately confront Will. They do not care whether he is guilty or not. Their job is to keep the system stable, and that system demands that the rich stay rich and the poor remain desperate. They confiscate nearly all of Will's time, leaving him with only 2 hours. The moment an opportunity appears, Will escapes and takes Sylvia with him.
Ourselves.
Get out of the way!
They race out of New Greenwich and into the impoverished time zones. But during the escape, the car hits a hidden explosive on the road and flips. Dazed and vulnerable, they are found by Fortis and his gang. They steal most of Sylvia's time, which is a massive amount. But before they can take all of it, the sound of approaching sirens forces them to retreat. As Sylvia regains consciousness, she realizes she has only 30 minutes of time left. With no other choice, she and Will rush to Burrell's home, hoping for help. Instead, they learn that Burrell is dead. The 10 years Will once shared with him were wasted on alcohol and reckless living. With less than a minute remaining, Will scrambles for a solution. He manages to survive by selling one of Sylvia's expensive diamonds, buying just enough time to stay alive. He then contacts Sylvia's father and demands 1,000 years in exchange for her safety. But it becomes painfully clear that her father values his own immortality more than his daughter. By morning, instead of negotiating, he sends Raymond to capture Will. As the situation escalates, Sylvia steps in and shoots Raymond, saving Will. The two of them escape once again. From that moment on, Will and Sylvia become the most wanted fugitives in the system. The betrayal opens Sylvia's eyes. Her father never cared about her, only about time. This marks the beginning of their rebellion. Together, they rob small local banks owned by Sylvia's father's corporation. Their goal is to disrupt the system and force those in New Greenwich to feel the same fear and uncertainty the poor experience every single day. Their actions spark chaos throughout the city, and suddenly, people who once had nothing begin taking what they can. Later, Will and Sylvia check into a motel and rent out every room. Unfortunately, someone spots them and reports their location. That same night, Fortis captures several people and interrogates them, demanding to know who has been distributing large amounts of time. Eventually, he learns where Will and Sylvia are staying and heads straight there. Just when Will and Sylvia begin to relax, Fortis bursts into the room. Before finishing them off, he challenges Will to a brutal time fight, where the loser's clock drains to 0. At first, Will struggles, but as Fortis reaches his final moments, Will grabs a hidden gun and takes down Fortis's men. Fortis collapses as his time runs out. After surviving yet another close call, Sylvia comes up with a daring plan. She and Will return to her father's headquarters. Will disguises himself as a guard, and together they force her father to open his private vault. What they find inside shocks them. An enormous amount of stored time, enough to save thousands of lives, enough to prevent Will's mother from ever dying, enough to end suffering in every poor district. But Sylvia's father insists the time cannot be shared. If 1,000,000 years were released into the system, society would collapse. Everyone would chase immortality and chaos would follow. The system, according to him, exists to prevent humanity from destroying itself. It works even if it means countless innocent lives must end early. Hearing this justification, Will's anger reaches its breaking point. With 1,000,000 years of time now in their possession, Will and Sylvia prepare to return to the poor districts and share it. But before they can, Raymond appears once again, refusing to give up the chase. A violent crash forces Will and Sylvia into a corner. In the chaos, Will manages to hand the container of time to a young girl, keeping it out of Raymond's reach. As a crowd gathers and closes in around Raymond, Will and Sylvia take the opportunity to escape. Their relief does not last long. Raymond catches up to them on a quiet road and corners them again. But there is one critical thing he overlooked. In this system, every timekeeper is only issued a small amount of time while on duty. They must refill it every hour to prevent corruption and theft. Raymond was so focused on capturing Will and Sylvia that he forgot to refill his own clock. With only seconds remaining, he collapses before he can pull the trigger. Now Will and Sylvia face a new problem. Their own time is almost gone, with less than a minute left. Will sprints to Raymond's patrol car and refills his time, then races back toward Sylvia. It mirrors the moment he once tried to save his mother, only this time Sylvia's running toward him too. With seconds to spare, their hands finally meet, and he transfers enough time to save her life. After everything they have done, the system finally collapses. Barriers fall, control weakens, and people flood into New Greenwich for the first time. Those who once lived day to day now step into a world that was never meant for them. Will and Sylvia remain fugitives, but they are no longer just running. They have become symbols of change. And now their sights are set on something even bigger, the World Bank, where enough time is stored to grant someone immortality. So the moral of the story is, if you ever get 1,000,000 years of life, maybe don't waste it gambling, running from the cops, or flirting in a swimming pool. Just take a nap and think your decisions through.